collaboration, and it was a different type of collaboration. Yeah, a little more intellectual in that sense, you know.
Right, this was very aesthetic and intuitive.
Right, this was very intuitive, yeah.
Like
and it was a good challenge.
The color, the way that the color like bounces, I would never have predicted that. Like I didn't realize so many of the cyanotypes would be here, but it really like reflects some of the color choices I made in an interesting way. So
yeah,
that is not something that I planned, but once it was here, it made sense.
And it pushed me to use materials I might not have otherwise used. I don't know if I already said this right. I apologize if I did. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
There was a connection that I processed for the first time as you were speaking before that I don't know if it was intentional, but certainly Jeremy saw that sort of digital element of creation in your art, and that's what using the binary code. And there definitely is that element in the spirit of Kabbalah, of like another mode of creation. As you use the term Black Mirror, I've heard that that's also a technology reference nowadays. Also, do you know of the etymology? Well, you were describing the unique sort of reflection, or unique sort of picture on the world that it offers, and it occurred to me that that might have something to do. I don't know with the way that the modern phrase Black Mirror is.
I know there's a whole history of Black Mirrors that also gets into other. There are spiritual elements to it too, but I don't know about the modern use of it. Yeah.
Can you explain what a Black Mirror, that term?
What?
Black.
Ari can speak to that.
Black Mirror.
I don't know what it is in terms of technology. I'm not sure. Yeah. Ari, do you want to explain more about the technology term Black Mirror? Or?
Oh, I don't know if I really could, but it's used, the way it's used is a way of like seeing the dark side of technology's advancement.
Our phones are Black Mirrors when they're black. They are.
Yeah, that's true.
Go outside and hold it up.
Yeah. Could you just sort of explain a little bit of how the artists use the Black Mirror as an aid?
Yeah.
Because I'm not familiar with it at all.
So I guess it's similar to like, when someone will make a viewfinder, right, to help decide what they want to paint and keep it. So this, I don't know how to, it does something.
From what I understand, it just distills the value to make it sharper, so that you can kind of get, like it's almost like squinting. Everything is just like more clear cut. That's what I understood. I've never used one, but that's how I understood it was used.
Yeah, interesting. Squinting, that's.
Yeah,
it kind of like it kind of dilutes the intensity of the light, so you can see clearer. You can see better.
What you hold it up in front of you?
So they had little stands, and they would like set it up, and it would be facing whatever they were trying to paint, and then they would just look at that to paint what they wanted to paint.
So instead of looking at the real nature, you're kind of looking at this. Also, it distills everything for you. So it's kind of like today, you're taking a picture.
You're taking the picture and working from the picture, from the photograph.
So the organization is already done for you.
Could you talk about that large blue piece in back?
Yeah, so this it sticks out a little bit in this body of work because it is from a different body of work. So that was a whole entire narrative. I think, Jonas, you came to my studio when all of that work was presented. I had like an installation set up, which led the viewer around a storyline. And the story was based on a short story by the postmodernist writer John Barth. He wrote a very short story called The Night Journey, and it's part of like a larger collection of stories that all loosely have the same theme. It describes a swimmer going through a dark channel and having a lot of emotions of motivation and despair and defeat, and at a certain point there's mention of all the other swimmers that can't make it, and there's a philosopher swimmer in the beginning who had been part of that journey who describes how perhaps there's many oceans, perhaps there is no ocean at all, and so it kind of goes through this absurd journey. By the end, he gives up his individuality and he is united with the maternal divine. And it's an analogy for conception, right? It's an analogy for that one soul or sperm, or however you want to put it, that makes it to develop into a fetus, to gestate, and to make it as a human being into a body. And it was a crazy story, and it really affected me, and then I started that body of work around that. So this would be part of that journey when it kind of gave up. It gave up, it fully gave up already, and now it's descending and dropping into the maternal cavity, and it's beginning to develop. And the actual figure is, so the metaphor of the womb and the metaphor of existence before embodiment is an ocean, because an ocean is chaotic. There's no bottom, there's no top, there's no sides. If you're in the middle of the ocean, you're in outer space, right? There's no sense of groundedness. So, and then the actual image is an image of a fetus that I found when I was looking at old alchemical drawings of the fetus and how the fetus was imagined, having this like third eye, having this opening in the forehead, which is really interesting. And this is found in like old drawings. So that was the basic and short story of that. It's hard to understand this piece without like all the other sibling pieces. But yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Leah and Hannah. I really appreciate a very fine presentation. Thank you.
Jonas, for
Yeah,
putting this together.
my pleasure. Yes,
I appreciate it. Yeah.
great to work with you.
Thank you for everyone who came.
Yes. Cheers. Cheers. So we have a little bit more time before we have to go, so we can
Yeah, we
chat
can-
and
yeah, stand up.
nosh, whatever. Okay.
The camera off.
And I'm going to
A lot of camera time.
I'm going to do a little tour of the art myself. Leah Caroline, oak gall arrangements. Hannah Petrikovsky, The Descent. Graphite on paper.
Their references are great. I want to look up that bug Kabbalistic trees.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I ended up missing my thing, but that's okay. I was fascinated by their
Oh, good.
lecture.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm tired. I worked all day.
I think we're gonna have a little expedition maybe to Cass's.
Oh, tonight? Oh,
Not the one in New York. the one
right, right.
I want to.
It's kind of tough.
Just doing a little tour here.
Veggie.
Yeah. Well, my friend.
Do you need help with anything?
Hannah Petrikovsky, Power.